So here's a Lando deck that I made for the format. It's pretty sick. um, it has some trouble with the aggressive creature decks, but and sometimes with the control decks, but usually not too much. And then like the mid-rangey decks just destroys. So you're just running what? 14 mountains, I think. One God's Eye, which when it goes to the graveyard from the battlefield, you put a 1/1 spirit token into play. So when you sack your own land, you get a token out of it. So that's all it's there for. 4 Quicksand, once again because those creature decks are a pain. 4 Jeweled Amulet. I was surprised this was under the 10-cent mark. I think it's only 8 cents. It's pretty sick in a Lando deck, especially mono red, where you don't have many ways to get your 3 mana on turn 2. So you drop it turn 1 for 0 mana, and then you put a red mana into it, and the next turn it taps for a red mana. And then on turn 2, on that turn 2, you can cast Pillage or Molten Rain, Stone Rain, Steam Vines, etc. So just gets you started right away. And then by turn 3, you're casting another 3 mana land destruction spell, hopefully. And you don't need it anymore. And then you can just use it later in the game when it helps you out. So we've got the 4 Jeweled Amulets, 2 Spark Sprays to handle some of the early creatures and its cycles, 3 Rays, sack a land, destroy land. It's pretty sick for 1 mana. 3 Armillary Sphere because you're sacking your own lands and discarding your own lands to different effects. So it's just good to get some card advantage back. And you don't have much to do on turn 2 if you don't draw. One of your ways to do something on turn 2, which is basically Jeweled Amulet, Simian Spirit Guide, and Scorched Earth. It's kind of silly that Scorched Earth is legal. 10-cent rare, and it's absolutely broken. So yeah, you got Simian Spirit Guide, which is a 5-cent common, which I was surprised by. Thought it'd be more expensive. Sometimes you just drop him to trade with a creature or just to beat down, but if you really want to get that second turn land destruction spell off, sometimes he's worth it to remove. Scorched Earth, X and red, discard X land cards and destroy X lands. So if you got extra lands, that's pretty sick. And Armillary Sphere hopefully ensures that you will a lot of the time. So then straight 3 mana land destruction spells, you've got 9, 10, 11, 12. You basically have these 12. Steam Vines is like, it's just basically land destruction. You put it on one of their lands. If they tap their land and after you put it on their land, it's pretty much game over for them. It's just a bad move, right? Basically it goes onto their land, and if they tap their land is destroyed, and then it goes onto one of your lands. And then you can tap your land, destroying your land and putting it back on their land. So you're going to win the war of land attrition every time. So, and then you have 2 Icy Manipulators to act as Lando, pseudo-Lando later, and then to force the Steam Vines interaction to go off. You have 2 Seer's Sundials to draw cards later. 2 Flowstone Floods is another land destruction spell that you can buy back. Pay 3 life, discard a card at random, so pretty darn good. Your win condition is Magnivore, which is an XX, where X is the number of sorceries in all graveyards, and you've got like 20 sorceries in the deck, or 24 or something silly, so he's going to be huge usually by the time you cast him. 3 Incendiary Commands. It either does 2 to all creatures, which is pretty nice, destroys a non-basic land, 4 damage to target player, or each player discards their cards in their hand and then draws that many cards. Every one of those abilities is pretty useful, except for maybe the do 4 to target player, although, that can be useful too. If you just need that 4 more damage after a couple Magnivore hits or whatever. And you choose 2 of those, so it's just crazy good. Here we've got a pretty straightforward sideboard. We've got guttural response to force through the spells against the counterspell deck. So you force through a couple land destruction spells, usually that's game over. You've got 3 Dragon's Claws, because you don't want to lose to the burn decks / goblin decks. And you should gain a pretty decent amount of life off those. You've got Pyroclasm to deal with any of the creature decks, so that's pretty nice. It just tends to own most of them. And then you don't want them to use artifact mana, so you've got Overload for that. Just a 1 mana Shatter. And then if you kicker it, you can destroy almost any artifact, so pretty good. So that's that deck. We do a solitaire game here, so that's a pretty bad hand. Probably have to keep that. Not too excited about it though.